What's up, Dungeoneer crafters? Today we're going to be wrapping up part 2 of our how to create sewer terrain for Dungeons and Dragons. Stick around, find out how we turn this into this. Alright, so you've completed part 1, which is constructing all of the dungeon tiles, the sewer sludge, and the cork board, along with the cardboard on the back. If you've gotten this far, congratulations. We're gonna go ahead and keep moving. Thank you guys so much for sticking with this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get Nicole's Craft Studio Dark Gray. This is pretty cheap, about $1. We're gonna go ahead and get some of this and drybrushing. So if you don't know what drybrushing is, that's okay. That's why you're at this channel, and that's what we're here to do, is to help you out when you're making your dungeon terrain. So we're just gonna squirt that out. Great. So we're gonna grab our brush, and since we're in hard times, the coronavirus has struck, we're not gonna use toilet paper because toilet paper is a commodity and it's very hard to come by apparently these days. So we're gonna be using this washcloth, and we're gonna kind of wipe it up and down on this. So I believe we have some water. Great. So what we're gonna do is we are going to take a little bit of gray, just a little bit, just the tip of it. See? And you can kind of brush it off on the plate a little bit, like that, and then brush off a little bit there. And you're just gonna go over the already black with Mod Podge tiles. You wanna make sure that you're not covering it so much that you're getting all the definition, and you're kind of just highlighting the tops of the surfaces. You're just going to be taking your time, making sure you're just getting the... See how you can still see all the cobblestoning in there? Look over here. This is a better... you can just see all the cobblestoning from there. And that's going to make it look a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and take a couple minutes and make sure you're dry brushing along with us. Alright, so if you dry brush all this on there, when you get to the cork, go crazy. You know, make sure you're covering up the cork as much as possible. Although if you want to dry brush it, go ahead and do that. When you finish, it's going to look a lot like this. It is still drying, so what you can do to make time go by faster is you can put this by a fan, put it outside where there's going to be some wind, and this is going to make it dry a lot faster if you're trying to do this in a hurry. So we're going to go put this by a fan and let it dry. Drying. Okay, so now you've gotten through the dry brushing or just full-on painting the cobblestone pathway for your players. We're gonna now move on to painting the sludge. So what we have here is grass green, which is a really dark green. We have true green, which is hopefully not lying. We have lily pad green, which is the lightest and the most gentle of all greens. And we have Morning Sunshine. So we're gonna go ahead and I start off with a base coat of just dark green. And pop that down there. So you've got your green, and I just kind of do a quick pass over with this one time. Just once, because we're going to be adding multiple layers of green to this. That's going to dry pretty darn quick. So it's going to look like that. That does not look as cool as that. We're going to get there pretty quickly. So dark green. The next thing you're going to do is you brought your dark green. You're going to mix that with true green, the part that you already put into a plate or a bowl or a palette, however you do it, and the lily pad green, along with a little bit of Morning Sunshine. And you're just gonna mix those all together with your brush. And this is gonna give it a very unique color. Sludgy color. So you've got your you've got your disgusting green together, and you're just gonna go over top of that green that you've already done. So my lovely assistant, Gabby Morris, she mentioned that this looks really bright. And she's right, so this does look very bright, but we have a way of making it come down and darken up to make the textures really pop. And we're gonna get to that in just a second, so stick around, and I hope you guys get that really cool sludgy darkness effect to the build. So one thing I know people are gonna be really freaked out about is the green up onto the cobblestone. That's totally okay, because if you look back to the original,
it's green all over this place.
and that's gonna help build some dimension and some color dynamics across the entire build. So your players won't get too bored looking at this. So you've got your green, it's like a very
toxic green
color on there. We're gonna make this dry up a little bit. The next step we're gonna do is using from the Black Magic Craft wash. And that's gonna help us out making this thing come to life a little bit more. Sweet, so you've gotten done with your green, it should be dried up, and you've done your cobblestoning. The next thing you're gonna do is move on to black wash. So, again, not Jeremy, but Jeremy from the Black Magic Craft channel. You've got his Black Magic Craft wash. All it is a little bit of dish soap and old used paint and some water. You wanna make sure it's really thin. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your brush of wash and you're just gonna go over everything. So if there's any wet paint, you don't want to do this because it's gonna mix together with all the paints, okay? This is gonna help darken up the entire build. Done it to the green, now we're gonna do it to the gray. Cool, so you've gotten all of your black wash on there. Now if you notice, one thing that this black wash is gonna do is it's gonna bring out all the extra texturing that you've done before back in part 1. So all the cobblestoning work is so a lot better after you've done the black wash. Another great question I got was, isn't that just gonna cover up the gray or the green that you just did? Well, actually, that's why you have to wait until the paint so that way it doesn't cover it up, it actually just brings out accents and dark shaded areas of your paint. So we're gonna go let this thing dry up and we'll be back to do some more highlighting and some more green textures to this build. So the next thing we're gonna do is called so we're going to take a brush, we're going to put a little bit of white paint, just a little bit, and we're going to dry brush. Dab the very edges of it, you don't need the whole brush, and you're just going to keep wiping until there's barely anything on there at all. And just very lightly. So you really just be a little bit more conservative in how much paint that you have on the brush. Don't be super liberal and just make sure you have a very, very little bit and fine amount. That way you're not really digging too much and getting too much white paint on there. So we've done the cobblestoning. I never use white on the grain because it's a little weird. So what I'm gonna do is do a lighter green,
dry brushing
on the sewer, the green stuff. So just a little bit on there. As you go along more and more, you're gonna see changes with the dry brush. And then if you wanna go through with a tiny brush, you can do that. You don't really need a dry brush with the tiny brush because what you can do is target specific spots and it will help pop out like the higher edges. So this is only on
the raised edges
we're really shooting for. Great, so you've done a little bit of extra lighting, so all the raised edges should all have a little bit more of the lighter texture. So that way it's like the light is hitting down from the top and then getting darker as you go closer to the water. So after you've done this, you're welcome to do another wash. What I like to do before I do that next step is I like to take a little bit of green paint and I just splot it in different areas to give the dungeon a little mossy kind of feel. Boom. So you've gotten some green, kind of moss, or whatever your imagination can make it, be all over the cobblestone, up and down the... And now the only next thing you need to do, if we compare these things, is the gloss. It makes a big difference, in my opinion, okay? So what I'm gonna go outside, I have some kind of spray paint. We're gonna go grab that, and we'll see outside. So we've got our Alien's Original acrylic sealer. It's gloss finish. So it says it's fast drying, it doesn't yellow, it seals and protects, and it's for indoors and outdoor projects. Let me tell you right now, don't spray this inside. Do not spray it, especially in your house. It's gonna smell, so don't do that. So we can use this, and this is gonna make the finish down here a lot better. So we're gonna come over to this table. I don't have a mask because I'm on the cheap end. So great, so you're gonna let this thing dry up a little bit. You probably already see right now it's starting to gloss up, which is great. So we're gonna leave it outside for a little bit of time. We'll see you guys in just a bit. All right, so you made it to the end. We did gloss finishing for your dungeon sewer, all the black wash, highlights and dry brushes, all those fun things to make this piece really come to life for your table, and your players are gonna love it. If you think that you have an idea for us to craft, go ahead and comment down below and give us something to work on during this whole outbreak. At this time, whenever the coronavirus has hit us all, we all need to know that we're practicing social distancing. So while you're practicing that social distancing, go ahead and create some dungeon terrain and make sure you're getting ready for that next session. Your players will love it. It's gonna pop out and make sure your players have a memorable session that you created an awesome encounter. So I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something. Hopefully you were able to build along with us, and we're gonna keep making these videos to help you out in creating some awesome experiences for your players. Till then, please like and subscribe so we can keep making these videos. And if you have any suggestions, go ahead and put them down in the comments below. Till then, guys, please stay safe and happy dungeon crafting.